Hi guys, I work at the Juvenile Truancy Program here. My name's Noah Shabani and I work here as a social worker. I'm going to assume that this is Kaylee, and are you Tiffany?
Yeah.
Well, nice to meet you guys. I hope you guys are enjoying your day so far. So obviously I've been given a little bit of information, but I think I'd like to hear the problem from your guys' perspective about why we're here today and just things that might be contributing to it.
Yeah, I think the main problem is that Kaylee is not showing up to school. But I think on top of that, there's other family issues that are going on. Like me and her father have constantly been fighting, and I think that is taking a toll on me, taking a toll on her father, and I think it's kind of started to take a toll on Kaylee, which is really not good. For me, it's just been really hard to stay motivated, get her to school, get food on the table, and do a lot of things that the family needs. So I think overall our family has just been having a really hard time.
Yeah. Okay. It seems like while the main issue is Kaylee getting to school, there's a lot of other contributing factors, like her father, which I'm assuming is her husband,
Yes.
is out of the house a lot of times, and there's just a lot of lack of motivation due to that, and just hard to get around to get to places and get to school and do other functional things. And Kaylee, with your father out of the house, how do you cope with like dealing with that and just not being around?
Um, I just try to avoid it. I try just not to think about things because they kind of bring me down pretty negative. I try to just avoid the whole issue.
So you try to avoid thinking about the thing that makes you sad, which is when your father's not around. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's it makes sense that you would do that. It's a very good coping mechanism. And what about you? How does your days look like when you're trying to cope with this issue when your husband's not around and stuff?
Yeah, there are times where I try, but a lot of times it's really hard to get things done. I would rather spend my time like sleeping or kind of I just have a hard time feeling motivated in general. Feel kind of slow a lot of the times or feeling kind of helpless or useless. So I think mentally I just try to block it out completely and I try not to think about it at all because if I do, it leads me to kind of spiraling more into the inability to do things myself.
Hmm. So when this happens with your husband out of the house, it lowers your mood. It makes you a little bit sadder, a little bit more just like less energized.
Mm-hmm.
Makes it way more difficult to do things that you normally would do in a day.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming when he's there, that also means that you typically have more energy too.
Sometimes, but overall I've just kind of been feeling really slow.
Okay, so it's a little bit. It helps a little bit, but not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
That makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. So I wanted to ask you guys this question because I feel like it's really good to set a standard for what we want, like in a perfect situation. So, like, if a miracle were to occur today, I'm going to start with Kaylee first. So, if a miracle were to occur today and all your problems were solved and you didn't have to like try to avoid these negative feelings and stuff like that, how would you? What would be like the first thing you notice?
Um, I think in the morning, mom would be awake, um, and dad would be there, and we'd have breakfast, and I'd get to go to school, and everything would kind of just be back to how things used to be normal.
Yeah. So you'd have breakfast. Your mom would be awake. Your dad would be there as well,
Hmm.
and you'd end up going to school. Is there anything else that you think you might notice about that day? Like maybe after school? Would there be like maybe like a family dinner or something?
Yeah, maybe. I think a lot of times if I go to school and I come home, that's when a lot of fights are happening, and it's kind of hard to think about that because that's I try not to. But and if everything was fixed, then it would be great. We could have family dinner and we could have I don't know play games or something.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. That you could do enjoy a lot of time with your family, but unfortunately, right now that there's a lot of fighting going on, so it's a little bit more difficult to do that, right?
Mhm.
And what about you, Tiffany? If you had a miracle happen to you tomorrow, what do you think would be changed?
I think for sure the first thing that would definitely change is kind of like my mentality and my thought life. I think I would wake up a lot more happier, motivated, kind of excited to get out of bed. Hopefully, in that bed would also be my husband, and our problems would be resolved, and definitely minimal fighting, and things wouldn't be as chaotic as she was describing earlier.
Mhm.
I think there would be a lot more motivation to get meals, like she was saying, on the table, family game night going, things that are really bonding for us all. And the top priority would her to be getting to school on time daily and to have her grades be steadily inclining and getting better, I think would be the goal for us.
Okay. Yeah, so it seems like in your scenario where everything's better and like a miracle happened, like the ultimate end goal would be that Kaylee could get to school on time, make it to school every day, and have better grades. But there seems to be a little bit that needs to happen. And that's okay that there needs to be a little bit to happen. No one has a perfect life. So you mentioned like having your husband at home and waking up with him and being happy. I'm assuming when being happy means there's probably less fighting.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like it's really easy for us to kind of bicker a lot of the times. And unfortunately, is always in front of Kaylee, which is not good for her to see, and I think will cause her more stress. So I think us being happy would definitely involve no more fighting for sure.
Hmm, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Uh, and Kaylee, uh, question that I have for you is just when these negative things happen, like you see your parents fighting or something, does it always make you feel negative, like want you to like avoid those negative emotions and stuff?
Yeah, pretty much anytime it happens, it's the first thing I do is just try to get away from it and either go to my room or just, I guess, try to hide from them.
Hmm. And since these things happen, is there ever a time where this has happened and you haven't felt the need to like avoid these feelings?
Sometimes when I talk to my counselor, different people like my friends and stuff that I trust, it's easy to talk to them and be honest and open up about the stuff that's hard at home.
Hmm. So you use your friends a lot at school? Is that, I'm assuming they're at school
Hmm.
to help you with like they get that you have fun with them and they help you deal with your issues that may be taking place at home.
Yeah.
That's good that you have a support system at school that wants to help you out. It's a really positive motivator that people care about you and it shows that people want to be your friend. So, yeah.